I'm Junon. I founded the group back in 2023 because community is something I needed. The group currently has grown to close to 1,100 individuals, from retired individuals, entrepreneurs, business owners, and people that just want to feel inspired and connected. We've partnered with FoxPoint Farms every Friday, at Feel Good Friday at 9 o'clock. Come join us. It's a beautiful community. Come and feel inspired, feel supported, and maybe you can inspire someone too. Let's connect. All right, welcome to the Heart of the Matter podcast. I'm Junon.
I'm Dr. Lisel, and I want to thank our sponsors, Bubs Naturals, who I take their collagen, their peptides, their vitamin C, their electrolytes. Thank you, Bubs Naturals.
So good. That's why at 72 I look like this, because of Bubs. All right, I'm excited today. We're at FoxPoint Farms with the founder, owner of FoxPoint Farms, Brian Grover.
Hey.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you. We love this place. It's, we already had our coffee. I always do coffee with everyone, and I heard your story, but I want everyone to hear your story.
Okay.
Thank you again.
Let's go. Yeah.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Especially everyone loves FoxPoint Farms. They're probably like, who is this, secretive person that we can thank for this business? It's Brian.
Yep.
Yes, exactly.
Now you can spot me around here when I'm having a beer or having a sandwich. I'm more recognizable.
Great.
What's your favorite beer here?
My favorite beer, probably the hazy hibiscus haze. Yeah, that one's good. We use hibiscus that we grow on the farm, and all the beers are really good though. Our brewer Brian really knows what he's doing. So anyway,
great name, Brian.
Yeah, the people here are great, but kind of tell us a little bit about yourself. You're from San Diego. Where are you from?
Yeah, grew up in Los Angeles. Came down here in 2001 for college. Went to UC San Diego, and studied structural engineering. But as we discussed the other day, kind of dabbled in urban planning, urban design, and ended up finding my passion in that. Went to graduate school on the East Coast, UNC Chapel Hill, and I came right back to Encinitas, and I've been here ever since. So
Nice.
been about 25 years in San Diego, and yeah, I love it.
What was Encinitas like 25 years ago? Because I vaguely remember going to like Zenbu on the 101,
Oh, yeah.
but I don't remember going east of the 5 in Encinitas.
Well, so I went to UC San Diego because I was a surfer from the San Fernando Valley in Los Angeles, and I wanted to go to a school where I could get a good education at that time as an engineer, and also surf every day. And so UCSC was a natural choice. Surf blacks all the time. I was a surf instructor. I had the key to blacks. And so I started surfing all over San Diego County, and that's how I found Leucadia specifically.
Right.
I coming back, down here from my parents' house when I was younger, I kept passing Leucadia Boulevard, and I was like, what the hell is Leucadia? Ended up getting my first ever brand new surfboard at Progression Surf Shop, which is still there, right off of Leucadia Boulevard in the 101. And that's sort of how I discovered that space. I started surfing D Street. I started surfing Beacons a little bit, Swami's, Cardiff, all of those spots. And I just kind of fell in love with Leucadia specifically, Encinitas more generally, which is why I moved here when I was in college and why I came back after graduate school. So what was here, I was in my early 20s, so I can tell you all the bars that were here.
That one.
At that time, it was the Longboard Grotto was still here in Leucadia on 101, which is now a combination of Coffee and Duckfoot Brewing. Surfy, maybe in, I forget, JP St. Pierre, who opened that, would check me, but right around 2005, 2006, Surfy came in. But, it was pretty quiet during those days. Bar Leucadian was there, obviously.
Right.
Very different than it is today. And I wouldn't say it was better or worse. It was just different. It was kind of a sleepier surf town, yoga town surf. So I loved it. It was awesome. And I love how it is now.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously it's very balanced. I mean, your engineering is very technical, but then you always balance it out with surfing and just kind of having fun doing that. I mean, did you kind of grow up kind of with that mindset of balance technical with have fun, live life? Or
Yeah. I mean, my upbringing was a solid balance of, kind of using both sides of my brain. I told you the other day that my mom had a strong influence on art in my life. I practiced and studied art through high school, which wasn't like a cool thing to be doing, but I really enjoyed it. I'd love to get back to it someday. My art right now that I do with my daughter and my son is like, shit, that's gone. Like, where did my skills go? But yeah, I painted oil painting, watercolors, and all that for a solid 10 or 15, a long time when I was a child. And then I balance that out with math and science and all the things that my dad wanted me to be good at to be a good male provider,
Sure.
whatever baby boomer, thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, when I went to college to study engineering, largely because of that influence from my father. But the other side of my brain always wanted to get back to, what's that design oriented, artsy side of me. And I was able to, fire on both cylinders, so to speak, when I sort of merged the two with urban design, placemaking, but also real estate development, finance, the engineering background, numbers. And that's sort of where I live today.
Right.
Kind of
Exactly.
like a hand in both pots.
Well,
and
like-
I love it.
During that whole process, did you have any idea you were going to be an entrepreneur, or was it more like, I'm going to work for a good company, do that so I can surf, travel, and just kind of live, kind of the dream?
When I was in college, I just wanted to, get good grades
Yeah.
and learn what engineering was, because I was a kid and I didn't really know what that was anyway. And then I just wanted to get a good job and be able to make a decent amount of money and eventually buy a house in a way that could support my lifestyle and eventually support a family,
Sure.
because that's, the way that I was brought up. And it wasn't until those classes that I was telling you about, those urban planning classes that I started dabbling in, that I realized, oh, like, I'm actually like, something's good. I'm interested in this. This might be something that I'm passionate about, not just something that I'm good at, which was engineering. And so, yeah, when I took that departure and decided to go to graduate school for urban planning and urban design, that's probably when that departure happened. The departure from like, I'm going to do what I know I'm good at, to I'm going to chart into unknown territory because I'm interested in it. And yeah, as I told you, that was a pain point with my relationship, largely with my dad for a long time.
Sure.
I knew I was being judged for, going and doing that, basically leaving an engineering profession behind and studying urban design. I came back and worked at an environmental planning firm, made terrible money in the early days. And yeah, both of my parents were probably like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
what's going on? But at that point, I knew where my passion was, and I had generally a path to find it. And yeah, now we're years later, decades later, and I get to practice it, and it's awesome. And I view that as a luxury.
Sure.
Like, not everybody has the opportunity to do that. And even those who have the opportunity don't always find success in it. So I've been very lucky to have all of those things align, where I've found some element of financial success, at least enough to sustain myself, my family, and create things that I'm proud of, like this, while also waking up every morning and being like, I'm doing what I want to be doing every day. There's not a day that I wake up and I'm like, damn it, I wish I was, from a business standpoint.
Sure.
I'd love to surf a little bit more and mountain bike a little bit
Right,
more, but
yeah.
I've also got 2 young kids right
yeah.
now. So.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, we've done a great job of branding the group and Heart of the Matter. We've grown to close to 600 people. Now, how do we market this? How do we get out there? Do we do SEO? How do we get the news out there?
Coast News Group. What other kinds of jobs did you have? You said environmental design?
Environmental planning.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. So when I went to graduate school for urban design, urban planning, that's a very broad practice. Some of it is housing policy. Some of it might be transportation planning. How do we encourage multimodal transportation? Some of it's real estate development. Some of it is environmental planning, hazard mitigation planning, I think when I was in grad school was right around the time of like some of the major hurricanes hitting, off of the Gulf. So there's so many things that you can study in that realm, and I didn't really know exactly which one I wanted to dive into. And placemaking became a big one that I was interested in. Why do people choose to, get coffee at that coffee shop versus that one? Why do they choose to sit at that table instead of this table? Why do they choose to? Yeah, it just very, very interesting to me. And sometimes you don't know what your passion is until you dabble in enough things.
Try
and you're like, damn, I would have never guessed.
Oh no, absolutely. Well, I mean, to this day, my mother, she's very conservative. She says, "Go get a job." I'm like, Mom, I'm okay. Like, you have businesses, and she
She says that.
She still says that, like, because she wants like a salary. She wants to say, that I can say I'm with a big company. I'm like, Mom, I'm doing okay, but you can't change everyone. But it does. I mean, it took bold action by you to take a chance, take every step. Obviously, every step you've taken has kind of led to this, and that's pretty amazing that you've been able to kind of do what you've liked to do. Have you ever had restaurant job, bar job, anything like that, or was it always kind of in that field?
Yeah. In high school, I worked at a surf shop in the San Fernando Valley, and I also worked at a movie theater. That was my first job was at Edward Cinemas in Calabasas.
No way.
So yeah, I've had other jobs, but right after that, I did summer internships every year when I was in college, largely at engineering firms.
Okay.
I did some internships with home builders, like I worked as an assistant superintendent building homes with Pulte Homes. Worked at Sandag for a 6-month internship. So kind of dabbled in different things eventually in that planning space to see, do I like the public policy, like government job, Sandag? Do I like the, private side, home building? And I kind of liked elements of all of it. And I don't think I even answered your earlier question, which was like environmental planning policy. Like, what does that mean? In graduate school, I thought I knew what it meant, and those were the classes that I took. In practice, when I eventually got a job at Dudek, which is based here in Encinitas, I learned that environmental planning in California is not just, making projects better, greener, more multimodal, encouraging bike share. It's doing all of those things, but we call it land use entitlement. So it's how do you work through the nuanced nature of project approvals in the state of California and work through things like the California Environmental Quality Act and work through environmental issue areas like with the Fish and Wildlife Service or with tribal governments or all of the above. And so it became very, it's like a puzzle. It's like a game. And it was the things that I was taught in school are more just tools in your toolkit to arrive at an eventual outcome. And it is your job to arrive at that outcome, especially as a consultant. And so over time, I got better and better at arriving at that outcome. The companies like Dudek are needed more, the more controversial a proposal is, whether it's a real estate development project or a college expansion or a new solar farm. If it's controversial, if it's impacting a community, perceived or otherwise, if it's creating traffic, if it's impacting sensitive species, if it's impacting tribal land, that's when a consulting firm gets involved and needs to be part of the process. And it's their job to arrive at a successful outcome to build that project. And some of the projects I worked on were really cool. Some of them were just so-so, and some of them were, oh shit, I got to push this thing through. So eventually those shit ones, I became a little bit disillusioned over time. I was aware that I was, working on those kinds of projects, literally the kinds of projects that I was taught in graduate school, like don't do this anymore. But the saving grace was, it's probably gonna happen anyway. I'd like to make it better. And I'm also learning so many skill sets along the way. I'm interacting with so many special agencies along the way.
Right.
And I knew that if I had some sort of North Star, some sort of integrity, some sort, created relationships with those groups, eventually I could go off and do it the way that I wanted to do it. And that's kind of what I ended up doing, with a little bit of luck and a little bit of
Right. Well, I mean, even with FoxPoint Farms, I mean, you didn't, because was this your first project when you started? I mean, the brainchild of this is your first project. You didn't go small. You went big. This is.
Yeah. So I guess just to kind of transition you guys into that, I hired a partner when I was at Dudek, Sean Kilkenny. I hired him away from a home builder. He and I had worked together for a long time. He had previously worked for several different home builders, and before that, Jim Baldwin down in Otay Ranch. And he had developed a skill set. I developed a skill set, and we always wanted to work together and do it our way. And so we started Nolan Communities around 2017, 2018, while still working at Dudek, kind of moonlighting outside of our normal work hours. And yeah, that's where we got our start. And there's a series of events that we can talk about or not, depending on how much time you'll have, as to how this project was sort of born. But this was the first project that we did through Nolan Communities as a developer, not as a consultant.
Wow. Well, no, when we have plenty of time. We have
Go
as much
for
time.
it.
Yeah,
I
go.
wanna
Let's
hear
hear
it.
it.
Is this like those Joe Rogan interviews where you got like 4 hours?
Yep,
That's
dude,
all.
why not? We'll cut it.
Just
We'll
4
edit
and
it.
a half hours.
All right.
We're only going
All
to
right.
use 30 seconds of this anyway. So I'm
Okay.
just kidding.
Yeah. Hey, all good. We're just here to chat. Yeah. So the way that this project came to be, I had learned what an agri-hood was back in my Dudek days, working as a consultant. I worked on several projects, all of which were in San Diego County, and they were branded as agri-hoods. Largely, an agri-hood is a residential community built around a working farm.
Makes
And
sense.
I think the Urban Land Institute has a way of describing it that I've always liked. They say it's something old made new again. So whenever people come here and they say, "Oh my God, like where did you come up with this idea? This is so ingenious and innovative."
I asked that last time.
Yeah, you asked me that.
Yeah.
And I said, it's actually not. Like not even pre-industrial revolution, like pre-World War II. A lot of people lived in community, multi-generational, and generally tried to live around where their food came from. Definitely pre-industrial revolution.
Sure.
And it's only in the last, several hundred years that has substantially shifted to we're so disconnected from our food systems in a way that has taken a toll on the environment and taken a toll on the way that we, just awareness we have around where food comes from. So anyway, it was sort of the agri-hood concept had at the time when I learned about it. It was sort of another tool in a consultant's toolbox to get a project that is controversial to be approved. And so that tool was being used by us and our client. And I just became enamored with it. I met all the people who were working in the space. Darren Jaffe, who goes by Farmer D Consulting, really amazing person. Evan Marks at the Ecology Center, who's doing amazing things in San Juan Capistrano. I met all these people in addition to a client who at the time wanted to do a really cool, innovative project like this. And anyway, that's where I learned what an agri-hood was. And I worked on those projects, one in particular, for probably a decade. And yeah, I just always knew that if I ever had the opportunity to do it on my own, I would want to do that. And we had that opportunity here, and we have done that. So how the opportunity came up, I don't know if you asked, maybe you did, but you were probably going to, so I'll just dive right into that.
Absolutely.
It was summer of 2017. My partner and I were working at Dudek, and I saw in the Coast News that a local farmer, Bob Ector, who owned this property previously, was trying to get the city of Encinitas to allow him to grow cannabis in his greenhouses. This 21-acre property that we're sitting on right now was covered in greenhouses, and he grew cut flowers, Gerbera daisies, and he you could interview him later and get the exact story, but I believe it's something to the effect of high cost of labor, high cost of water, high cost of everything, and increasing global competition from other countries who could kind of create the same product, put it on a refrigerated airplane and get it here in 10 hours. And he's competing with those companies to get into Vons and Ralph's and wherever it might be. So he sort of saw his business needing to wind down, and being able to grow cannabis was a way of being able to continue that high cash crop. And at the time, I was an environmental commissioner in the city of Encinitas, and I was also chairing a group called Bike Walk Encinitas, focused on multimodal bike transportation, because after all, I went to graduate school for urban planning. I was one of those dorks who bikes all over the place and thinks that you shouldn't use your car as much, and still do that. Just biked my kids to school this morning. So anyway, I was involved enough in city politics, directly and indirectly, to sort of know the players, and that they would say no to something like that. So I started following this process, and they eventually said, no, you can't do that. And through a friend of a friend who was working with Bob Ector at the time, reached out to him and said, hey, what about this? Like, it seems like a perfect opportunity with the site's agricultural history, to create an agri-hood community. And eventually he said, yeah, let's go for it. So that's sort of the inception, summer of 2017.
Wow.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Coast News Group, our other sponsor.
There you go.
Hey, Chris Kidd, good
Yeah,
job.
thank you, Chris.
That wouldn't happen.
Thank you.
Which camera am I looking at? That one?
Yeah, anyone
Okay.
you want.
All right. I'm
Yeah.
like, hey, hi.
That's awesome.
How good was that episode?
So good. Let's celebrate.
Where do you want to go?
JoJo's Creamery.
Ooh, my favorite. Look at all the flavors.
They even have vegan.
Ooh, awesome.
Hi, welcome in, you guys.
Hi, thank you. How are you?
Good. Is there anything I can get started for you?
My go-to is peanut butter cup and coconut almonds.
I'm going to do coconut mounds in a cup, please.
All right, that'll be $15.85.
All right. Wait, my wallet.
June, you can use repegs.
Oh, that's right.
And you guys get 2 free cookies with those.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Repegs is so easy to use. Thanks a lot.
That's interesting. So I'm curious, what do you think of other builders who have this same vision, but where did they drop the ball where you guys, it worked out?
Yeah. Let's see. I want to be as PC in my response to that as possible, because a lot of builders, and even there's a distinction between real estate developers and home builders and people who entitle land and sell it to a developer who then sells off, parcels to someone who will eventually build homes. And then there's some companies that do all of that. But our business model that we created was to come up with a plan, get that plan approved, and then bring in a partner that we might sell it to or that we might do it with. That was the business model of Nolan Communities. And so back to your question, I would say most people that operate in that space in the real estate development world don't really have the luxury of sitting down with their singular business partner and saying, hey, let's just send it with this project. Let's just spend a lot more money on amenities that we may or may not get a return on, not proven. We don't have a pro forma that says you will get a good return on this. Let's just see if it works. We, in this instance, had the luxury of being able to do that, but most people in our position do not. They're either accountable to shareholders as a public company, or they're accountable to investors as a private LLC, or they're accountable to somebody who gave them money to be able to do something. We had a unique set of circumstances here where we were almost always able to retain control in the driver's seat of the car. There were some moments where we were in the passenger seat and a couple of moments where we were in the trunk, but we eventually got right back into the driver's seat and we were in control of the eventual destiny of this project. And so that's the way I would answer your question. It's not to knock on any of these other folks who are building stuff in anywhere, but here in San Diego County. It's just the way that our capitalist economy is set up. And, I don't know of a better way to do it. But the way that our capitalist economy is set up and the way that people invest in projects that cost a lot of money to build and have an element of risk, especially here in California, it's sometimes you're just always protecting the bottom line. And usually the person protecting that bottom line is not doing it by choice. They're doing it because it's their job and they're told to do that. So yeah, we just had a unique opportunity here. And I'd say with a lot of our other projects, we try to remain as autonomous as possible. When we do bring in investors, we make sure that we're value and vision aligned. We're obviously a very small company, so we're not publicly traded and we're not accountable to, the stock exchange or anything like that. So yeah, kind of like what we were talking about earlier, like I have the luxury of being able to sit in the driver's seat on a lot of projects, just my partner and I, sometimes just myself. And yeah, it's really cool.
Wow. Do you remember that day, how you felt when they got greenlit? You're just like, oh, we're doing this. Like,
I remember that day, the day when, like September 11th or, you have these moments in your life. I grew up just outside of Northridge in a little town called West Hills in the San Fernando Valley. We were close enough to Northridge that I vividly remember the earthquake in the early 90s and exactly where I was. I can like close my eyes and picture it. Same thing with September 11th. I remember exactly where I was when that happened. And I remember exactly where I was when it was in a courtroom because of, a number of circumstances here where this site was rezoned as part of a housing element update. And I remember that moment vividly. And that was sort of the moment where we knew we were sitting on something that now had value. And we had full control of it. Before that, we had offered a lot of money to someone for their property, Bob, and it wasn't worth that amount.
right, yeah.
So there's a little bit of risk for that year and a half leading up to that courtroom moment where we knew, okay, now we're sitting on something that is actually worth more than that. Don't know how much more at the time. But yeah, that was the aha moment. And that was where we knew we could really start. We didn't have any, my partner and I spent, I think, $10,000 on like conceptual drawings and then a lot of sweat equity to like get the word out of here's what we want to do and here's what it'll look and feel like. But we didn't have any more money to like do substantial architecture and engineering until that happened.
Wow, that's amazing. What year was that?
That was 2019.
So
Nice.
everything kind of progressed pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Was there any pushback from the community about building something like this here in Encinitas? Or?
Oh yeah, tons. Yeah. And I think I'm glad you asked that. That was one of the things that I learned. I worked at Dudek for 16 years as a consultant, and I worked for a wide variety of clients. And I watched how they interacted with the public in their initial meetings. Here's what we want to do. I watched how they interacted with decision makers. I watched how they interacted with special agencies. And I sort of learned, like, if I ever get to be in that seat, like, I kind of want to do it this way. And so, again, this was our first project under the Nolan, brand, and our first project sitting in the driver's seat as a real estate developer. And people did not like this. Most everybody did not like this. They hated this. We sat down with the neighbors first time in 2017, and then multiple times through COVID. We probably had 30 or 40 community meetings. And we took an approach of, we know that you don't like this. We know that you don't like traffic. You have concerns about high density housing and what that means. You have concerns about whether or not you can trust us, because historically developers hadn't been trusted because they sort of, protect their bottom line. And so we went in a very communicative kind of way. We talk a lot about transparency, openness, honesty, and we practiced all three of those things in all of our meetings. And eventually, we didn't like win anybody over. That just doesn't happen when you're a real estate developer.
Sure.
But we at least got to a point where we could have an honest communication with various members of the adjacent community here and talk about real issues. And draw boundaries, right? There was a time where one of the neighbors wanted a 6-foot masonry block wall so that we could just be completely disconnected and not have to see what you're proposing to do. And we said, no, that's a boundary. Like, we're not going to do that. In fact, we're going to do the opposite. We want like visual connectivity between your community and ours. And that's why we have all these, fences that look like this throughout the community. which is rare. You see other projects going up and they have big
Right, big
masonry
wall,
block wall and
yeah.
they plant landscaping in front of it. And it's sort of like, I'm shutting you out either because you want that, or we want that, or both. And that's just not what we wanted. So yeah, a lot of controversy, traffic, all of the things, height of buildings, density, those people, affordable housing. We started out in a pretty dark place with the concerns. And I would like to think that we arrived at, we did sort of a, I guess I would call it a proactive settlement agreement. Sometimes when a developer is at odds with a neighboring community or a district or whatever, you have to have a settlement agreement. And we just kind of like came straight out the gate and said, what do you guys want? And we had a list of 14 or 15 things, and we implemented all of those things. One of them was never grow weed on your farm.
Really?
Because they're
Sure,
just gonna come in and I understand that concern. So it's in a condition of approval that we can never grow cannabis on this farm. That's fine. We agreed to that. So anyway, yeah, we had all the usual stuff, and we have a lot more projects active in San Diego County right now, and it's always the same things: traffic, density. We don't like state density bonus law. We hate what the state is imposing on these communities, and because of that, we don't like what you're doing. We don't think there needs to be more housing. Isn't enough. So yeah, I understand all of that.
And then throw in COVID 2020, and I mean, did that affect the build out, the planning? I mean, as far as supplies and not really be able to be out.
Yeah, COVID had a huge impact on this project for a number of reasons. We had an equity partner early on. That's how we, I mentioned earlier, we only had like 10 grand and we needed to get money from somebody. When this became valuable, we were able to go out to the market and bring in an equity partner to pay for all of those things, architecture, engineering, city application fees, all the things. We had a partner. And when COVID hit, that partner was impacted because they owned a lot of apartment homes throughout the state of California, I think throughout the country. And some of the policy decisions that were made during COVID had them losing a lot of money. And so we lost that equity partner, like right in the middle of our entitlement process, right in the middle of like processing this project through the city of Encinitas. We lost our partner. And so we had to pivot, and we had to fundamentally change. This project was going to be 200 apartment homes and 50 for sale homes. And we completely changed that. We went back into the city after we got approval, and we asked for a map modification to make them all condos. We went to the home builder that we were partnered up with at the time, which was Shea Homes. And we asked if they wanted to do all of the residential instead of just 50 homes. And after a lot of pushing and pulling, they said, okay, yeah, sure, let's do that. And so, yeah, COVID had a huge impact on the way that this was built out from a financial standpoint. In hindsight, it couldn't have turned out better. I'm so happy with the joint venture, partnership with Shea Homes. They've been an amazing partner. And then it had another huge impact when we went to construction, with the cost of materials being through the roof.
Right.
So, yeah, but sometimes you just have to move forward. And one of the positive things, at least from my personal standpoint, that happened because of COVID, when we lost that partner and we converted the entire residential component to for sale and brought in Shea Homes, I was able to personally take this commercial space and have full control of it, which I did not have before. And then I was able to take the money that my company made by partnering with a home builder. And even though it costs 3 times as much to build this space out, we had money that we made from partnering, and I just paid for it. We didn't get a loan. No bank would loan to us. In fact, many banks said, I think I went out to 5 banks and asked them for a construction loan, and most of them just said, what are you doing? Like, we don't even know how to underwrite this. We could underwrite a restaurant. We could underwrite a brewery. We wouldn't underwrite a farm because we'd say, don't do that, financially. And we were doing all of those things at the same time. So fortunately, we had the cash and we just built it.
Wow,
So
that's amazing.
Long-winded way of saying, in the moment, yeah, COVID was very frustrating. Yes, it had a huge impact on the amount of money that it cost to build this space. But net, you know, the universe works in mysterious ways. And now we have this. And I think without COVID, this would be a very different situation.
You're right. Well, and the thing too is I feel like because of COVID, because everyone was so isolated, people wanted community back. And I mean, that's what you built. So it's like, in a weird way, it drove demand for this type of concepts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now you're dragging us a layer deeper. We're peeling back another layer.
What we do.
Doesn't matter. I just talked about, finances and like literally the facts of how this was built out and all of that. And yeah, now you're getting to the really interesting stuff, which continues to today. COVID is having lasting impacts. Shoot, I mean, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, but that first class that I took in my urban planning program, the history of suburban sprawl in the United States, like we have had lasting impacts post World War II just from the way that we have built our built environment, specifically in the suburbs. COVID sent that straight up like this. And we're still up there. People feel isolated and may not realize it. They live in a built environment that has been built around promoting isolation, like suburbs, privatized backyards, privatized pools, keeping up with the Joneses, all these things. And you can view that as an opportunity to create a place that is different and make that your unique value proposition. And now, post-COVID 2026, you see a lot of people, and social media has had a huge impact on this as well. Like it's really easy to sit in your house, whatever kind of home you're in, and just scroll through social media and kind of like feel like you're living in this life, but it's not really a life. It's just this curated thing in a phone. And so now I at least see a lot of people gravitating toward things that are real. During COVID, you saw people moving to Idaho and Montana and wanting to horseback riding. Yellowstone became super popular. Like it's not a coincidence that all of these things happened around the same time. People want to be rooted in something that's real from a physical space standpoint and also from an interaction communal standpoint. And that has become one of our value propositions here at FoxPoint is come see a bluegrass band, a real band. You don't have to watch it on your phone. Just like bike here, walk here, or drive here. Like we have it. Come bring your kids or, come by yourself or come with your significant other and ride a horse or like pet a cow or hold a chicken. You don't have to do these things like way outside of town as a unique experience. You can now do that here. And it's about bringing back those real experiences into a community, not just the community that we built here at FoxPoint, but also the surrounding community. I'm really, there's all kinds of negative things that have happened because of COVID, because of the way that we've built our built environment over the last 75 years. But you can look at the, positive attributes of that, the opportunity that presents to repair. And so that's kind of what we've been leaning into.
Hey, can you believe we have 336 members now of the group?
I know.
That's
Crazy
growing
how
so much.
fast that was actually in a
Let's
year.
celebrate.
Okay, you're always wanting, look at that. Look how quick he is to celebrate.
Well, we have to celebrate.
What are you looking for though?
So that corkscrew.
Tune. Los Cuernos. No corkscrew needed. What do you want? You want a rosé? Red. Another red. But you want Chardonnay, I'm sure.
Chardonnay, just
Pop that open.
Definitely. And my first introduction to FoxPoint Farms were many, many events that you all have thrown that were not FoxPoint Farm events. They were other people utilizing the space. And that I think that shows the community like, no, this is not a country club. This is not a gated community. It's like, we want you using our space too. Your FoxPoint Farms is a part of the community. You all are a part of the community. We're sharing this space. And I always felt really welcome here. And like seeing all the like moms and kids and then people eating their lunch here. And then there's also the farm. It's like this, for all the pushback that probably happened along the way, it's like this really is that integrity that you were talking about of what you built was not going to be just like another big box community or something. It feels like you did this for the city of Encinitas.
Yeah. Thank you. No, I mean, I think people are naturally fearful of change. I am fearful of change. You guys probably are too. If there's a change that gets introduced into your life, especially one that you didn't choose, you're going to be resistant toward it. So I don't really fault anybody for being fearful or upset about or expressing themselves around what we had proposed here. And yeah, I think to your point, the expectation was that we were just going to build a ton of houses and probably build some cookie cutter, dumbed down, cheapo version of a commercial space at minimal cost, or at least at a cost where we could get a maximum ROI, return on investment, and that it was going to be this like kind of fake curated space. And I like that that's the expectation, because it's okay, I'm gonna like far exceed that. You know, we could do a lot better than that. We don't know if it's gonna pay off. We don't know if it's gonna make financial sense, but I've never been like a super lucky person. I don't win like raffle prizes or things like that. I've just sort of, you know, based on this conversation, I've leaned into opportunities that have come my way, and I've sort of had a North Star that's grown stronger and stronger in terms of like what I'm passionate about, what I'm good at, awareness of what I'm not good at. And yeah, I feel like this might just be my big opportunity to like create a legacy project for my kids and something that can live on past me possibly. And you're not going to half-ass something when you feel that way about it. You're going to send it. So I feel like we continue to. And yeah, I love that that's kind of the way people feel when they come here, that they feel warm, they feel welcome. We try to lean into partnership opportunities like with you guys. Another one, the group, another one with Club Consciousness.
Right,
Portal. They run a thing called Club Consciousness on Wednesday nights, free to the public, and it's just trying to help people. They're not trying to make money. It's just, we feel good about giving back. And I have an immense amount of respect for people who want to do that, and we're going to support that here always. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I love it. And that's why it's interesting too. I've been coming to FoxPoint since you built it, but for the last year, people have said, hey, you got to meet Brent. You got to meet. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I will. And I always say the right people show up at the right time. And as we outgrew where we were at Godania, I spoke to you. You were absolutely welcoming. You're like, here, have it here. And
That's because Lee vouched for you.
Yeah, okay, there you go. Perfect. Thank you, Lee.
Thank you, Lee.
But the fact that like the way you describe FoxPoint Farms is exactly the way I describe the group. The group isn't something I created. It's not innovated. It's as old as time. It's the village mentality, and it's also, you're seeing it. We have 1,100 members because it's what people need. Because of COVID, because of that isolation, because of what you see on your phone, in the news, it's what people need connection. And I love the fact that you really foster that community mentality of, hey, let's support each other, because it is difficult out there. If you look at the news, you look at what's happening, you look at the cost of California, but if you have somebody to support you and you realize, okay, I can learn from somebody, I can help inspire somebody, I can support somebody, anything's possible. So,
yeah. No, and I think that's a good similarity between what you do professionally with the group and what we do here at FoxPoint. Like if you have an opportunity, if you have a vessel to cultivate, our tagline at FoxPoint Farms, cultivating community. We have a vessel, this physical space to do so. If you don't act on that, you're sort of, come on, like how can you do that? You have to open that up to community, and you have to take it in. Especially at a time like today when people are longing for that. They're longing for connection to each other. They're longing for connection to things that are real, physical spaces, experiences. And we have the ability to provide that. So we're going to do that every day.
That's amazing. I love it. I love this partnership. Appreciate you letting us be here. Do you have the the sketch of what the first concept was? Like, how much has it changed from like day one to now?
Yeah, we we have a lot of sketches from the first concept. Like, where are we going to put the farm? Where are we going to put the homes? Where are we going to put the restaurant? There were certain pieces of this community that were always there. There was always going to be a restaurant. There was always going to be a farm. There was always going to be homes. Other stuff sort of evolved over time. The apothecary came much later. The brewery was actually one of the last ads.
Yeah.
There's an interesting story about that if we want to get into it. But the actual physical design of the space in 2017, we locked it in pretty good. We knew we wanted the farm over here, secluded, overlooking the canyon. It's also a nice fire break between the Magdalena Ecke Preserve, which is to our north, and the community. Yeah, we had a really great team supporting us through the way as we like merged all of these things together. Shout out to Schmidt Design Group, our landscape architect, and Stark Architecture and Planning, and Steinberg Hart, who were both of our architects, and Pasco Laird, Suter and Associates, engineer. But anyway, yeah, it kind of meshed pretty quickly early on, and then it was just fine tuning.
Wow. Okay. And then, I mean, you're still evolving because I don't know if we can talk about it, but you're talking about the wellness type area, right? And podcast studio.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess I had never operated a hospitality business. I had never intended to operate a hospitality business. It's so hard. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I love doing it. I was talking to someone about this at lunch the other day. It's like so much harder than real estate development and what I was good at. And the reward, you know, it's so difficult. But you get to interact with so many people. You get to like create this family unit. You get to work through issues together with people that you never would have otherwise like had as part of this unit. And that's really cool. It's awesome. We have 110 employees here, and like we're always working through issues, which in the moment is like, fuck, again, like, oh my God. But when you step back, it's really cool that we're like meshing and growing together. So anyway, I had no experience doing this, and so I didn't know what I was getting into. And when we opened, I was like, cool, this space is like perfect. I spent, a couple years designing this. We've executed on it perfectly. It looks beautiful. Like, we're done, let's just make some money now. And very quickly, our customers told us directly and indirectly, like, oh, you really should do this differently. And how come you don't have that? And, just all kinds of things. And thankfully, we soaked that feedback up like a sponge, and we pivoted very quickly. And so short answer to your question would be this space has been evolving since we opened it, and I feel like, knowing what I know now, it's always going to be evolving based on what our guests want. As long as what they want, as long as I can fit that in alignment with our mission and our vision and that North Star, we're going to do it. So yeah, we've been evolving since the beginning. Our rotational grazing program is a great example of that. We started off with no animals. I always had the intention of operating a regenerative organic farm, and our farm team has, it's been an experience as we add more animals. You're like, oh my God, like, what are we doing? But it's innovative, it's cutting edge, and we're learning as we go. And there's not really like another example to look at and say, oh yeah, don't do this, do that. Don't bring in cows, like bring in this. Why would you have alpacas? You should do this. You have too many pigs and not enough chickens. We're sort of just like figuring everything out as we go, which is stressful in the moment, but it's really cool as a longer term approach.
Brandon, what's going on? This is going to be our biggest deal. We can't be down.
I don't know, man. I've been trying to reach tech support for hours now. They're not responding. They said they're probably not going to get back to us for the next couple of days.
Tennessee Tech told you this was going to happen. Let's call them right now. They do the tech support, cybersecurity. They can help us.
Let's do it. All right, team. Great job. Because of Tennessee Tech, we were able to present this and close it. Good job, team. Well, I love the fact that, especially I grew up in the hospitality industry, and customers are always right. The fact that you're willing to kind of adjust things, but then also, I mean, your staff's amazing. That obviously comes down from you as well, the culture you've set up.
Don't give me too much credit.
Well, I mean, whatever it is.
Our staff is amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
they're awesome.
everyone you can tell enjoys being here, because you know you can go to other restaurants and you can tell, they don't like being here.
Mhm.
They're just working for the paycheck. But you can tell everyone here actually cares about each other and cares about like what they do. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Well, look at their surroundings.
Yeah.
Like coming to work
I
is
know.
like I get to go to a farm. Like we're not going to the airport.
right.
People aren't like pissed to see each other. It's like everyone is obviously contributing to the community.
Yeah. No, it's awesome. I love what we've created here, and the way that I met those people, our management team and a lot of our employees also has just sort of like the universe just sent them here. You know, once they heard about the place, they sort of just like showed up. That's how I met our farmer, who was basically our first hire, Greg. He just showed up on site, and we weren't even here yet. He showed up on site, and Bob Ector was working in his office, and I got a call from Bob on my phone, and he said, "Hey, there's this kind of hippie looking long haired farmer guy here, and he wants your number. Are you cool if I give it to him?" And I was like, "Sure." And the next week I went out and met Greg, and a couple weeks later I went and had dinner at his house with my then girlfriend, now wife. And now my son is named after him.
Aw.
And I consider him like one of my really good friends.
Wow.
I
Shout
met
out
our
to Farmer Greg.
yeah, shout out to
Yeah,
Farmer Greg. Thank you, buddy. Just flipped you up.
Yeah, you did. All right.
I was like, why is my finger stuck? Similar story with our brewer, Brian Carl. I met him in our first community meeting that I was describing earlier, where, you know, we kind of got beat up pretty good about traffic and all those things. He lives in that community, and he was sitting in the back. And at the end of the meeting, he came up and he said, "Hey, I'm Brian." I was like, "Nice name. I'm Brian too." He said, "That was brutal. I've never been to one of these things before. You look like you need a beer." And I said, I do need a beer. And I went and had a beer with him. And he told me he's a brewer, and he was home brewing at the time. He was working at Benchmark Brewing. And yeah, years later, after, you know, periodic conversations, we opened the first brewery in the city of Encinitas together. And he's an amazing person, and he has a skill set that I feel lucky that other people didn't see in him, because he's a mad scientist. He's a genius, and he's an amazing person and brewer to have here. And I could go on and on through the list of people that we have here and how I met them. But yeah, it really feels like a family, and that's the cool thing about hospitality.
Yeah.
It's a grind, it's a pain in the ass. I don't know if I'll ever recoup the financial investment. I hope to, you know, be handing off to my kids something in 20 or 30 years that is some version of like stabilized and valuable to them. That's sort of my goal right now. But in the meantime, it's just like a really cool thing that I would have never thought, you know, 10, 20 years ago that this is what I would be doing in my career right now. And June, I think we talked about that when we sat down for coffee, even though neither of us drinks coffee. What else can you call that? If you're not having coffee with someone.
Yeah, I call it tea time now.
Tea time. Okay, that's better. Tea time. So yeah, you know, most people don't have the luxury to learn new things or do new things in midlife. I'm 42 years old. Most people get good at something. They go study it in school. Maybe they pivot a little bit, but generally they hone in on, this is my career path. I'm a surgeon, or I'm a dentist, or I'm a whatever. And they do that thing. And it's sort of a luxury to be able to say, now I'm going to learn about farming and brewing and hospitality and
alpacas,
customer service, and, you know, all of those things. Yeah, exactly. So that's super awesome. It gets your brain going when, I don't know.
That's amazing. I mean, it's kind of a theme. Every time we have a successful entrepreneur here, it's kind of the same thing where they were kind of told to do something else because it's a safe bet.
Yeah.
But they took bold action, bet on themselves, and we're like, it's going to be all right. Let's see what happens. And then they took a chance, and I mean, it's inspirational.
And we were talking about that as well, right? How we were both raised from baby boomer dads specifically. And that my dad never had the luxury of being able to like do what he was passionate about and then lean into that, with all of the risks involved. And you just didn't even think that was an opportunity because it actually was not. And we live in a generation where you can do that.
Right.
You just need to know, you need to feel that you're empowered to do it. And you need to have that combination of a little bit of luck and a little bit of skill and a little bit of good timing and all those things and lean into it. But yeah, we're probably the first generation that can do that. I want to be a photographer, right? I'm really good at photography. And, your parent says, there's no career in photography. And you say, maybe not when you were my age, but now there is. And then all of a sudden, boom, you're like the most successful photographer and you're making millions of dollars a year. And you're like, I don't know, but like it is possible. So anyway, it's another luxury that we have in our generation that I think our parents' generation and generations before did not have. They just did what their mothers or fathers did. If your dad was a farmer, then you're probably going to be a farmer and like tend to the land. That's all you got.
Right.
So anyway, yeah, we have unique opportunities now, and it's interesting to see what people do with those.
Yeah, because you're right. Because I'm seeing a lot of people that come to the group. They don't know why they're at the group. They're like, and they have a steady job, pays well, but they're not necessarily happy because they haven't followed their passion. And then they hear someone like you. So all our viewers, inspirational, but just to take a chance, bet on yourself and explore. But yeah,
hedge a little bit at the beginning.
Yeah,
even I did that.
Don't quit your job right away. I mean,
yeah. Yeah, I
love it.
Fun.
Yeah,
That was a cool story.
it is. See, I told you. I can hear it again. It's
Continue,
amazing.
I'm
There's
sure.
more parts of it. Yeah.
there's more parts of it. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again. I'm excited to see where this goes. We currently have, we had like 150 people show up on last Friday, so it keeps increasing. So
Yeah.
I was going to say we need to expand, but maybe take the golf course.
If we're not big enough,
Well,
you're gonna have to find
But I love it. I appreciate it.
maybe a big box retail like parking lot where you could just take the parking lot or the golf course. That'd be a good one.
We're never leaving here. This is amazing. But again, thank you again. I think everybody, it's an amazing fit. It's the same concept with the group as FoxPoint. It's about community. It's about empowering each other and giving people support and giving them hope, purpose. So again, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. And I guess something that just came to mind when you were saying that, I'm a firm believer in like rising tides lift all boats. Other folks' success is, we can all raise each other up. I think you guys are too with what you do. And one of the things that's been really, it's just been really awesome to see and fulfilling for me, other people coming here and saying, I love what you've done here. We've got this, we're doing this in Idaho, or we're doing this in Washington, or we're doing this thing down the street. And anyway, a lot of people are leaning into, it doesn't need to be centered around agriculture. It's just centering things around community.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as our society continues to be polarized, that becomes a unique value proposition that a lot of keen business people are going to lean into. And I think that's awesome. And I think it could help correct and heal what's been happening over the last several generations and specifically the last 10 years. So that makes me feel good. When I see other places in town popping up and they're leaning into some version of that, it's like, yes, thank you. Like more people need to do that. Something that's different, something that's tangible, something that's rooted in community. Please, more. We need it.
What a legacy. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, join us. Feel Good Fridays at 9 o'clock at FoxPoint Farms. They have events all the time. Come have a beer. Go pet the alpaca. I don't know if you can, but
You
I
can.
want to. Okay.
You can.
We're gonna
They
go
might
pet the
spit on you.
alpaca. All right. There you go. But just enjoy this community. It's part of it. It's yours as well. So thank you again.
Thank you. Thanks